You are standing in a forest 50,000 years ago. You are hungry. There is no grocery store, no doctor, no pharmacy, no one to call. There is a plant in front of you. You have never seen it before. You don't know if it will feed you or kill you, and you eat it anyway. This is not stupidity. This is the reality of being human for 99% of our existence on this planet. And the people who survived that reality didn't just get lucky. They built something invisible, something that had no name for most of human history. Stay with me, because what they built is still running inside you right now. Here is what most people picture when they think about ancient humans and disease. Weak, sick, dying young, dropping from infections we cured with a single pill. Wrong. The archaeological record tells a completely different story, and it is one that researchers are only beginning to fully understand. Skeletal remains from populations that lived tens of thousands of years ago show something unexpected: bone density that rivals or exceeds modern humans, teeth with remarkably low rates of decay compared to agricultural populations that came later, evidence of healed fractures, evidence of healed infections, evidence of individuals who survived injuries that would have been considered life-threatening for most of human history. These were not fragile creatures stumbling through a dangerous world. These were the most medically resilient humans who ever lived. And the reason why starts with something that sounds almost too simple. They moved, constantly, every single day. Modern research on hunter-gatherer populations that still exist today consistently shows something that shocks exercise scientists. These groups walk an average of 9 to 15 kilometers per day, every day. Not as exercise, as life, as the basic requirement of finding food and surviving. That level of sustained daily movement produces physiological effects that no modern pharmaceutical has ever successfully replicated. Chronic inflammation, the underlying driver of most modern diseases, including heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and neurodegeneration, drops to levels that modern physicians rarely see in their patients. Immune function improves. Gut microbiome diversity explodes. Sleep quality reaches depths that most modern humans never experience. Ancient humans were not avoiding disease by accident. They were accidentally doing everything that modern medicine now tells us prevents disease. All of it, every day, without knowing why. But movement was only the beginning, because ancient humans also had something that modern medicine is only now starting to take seriously: plants, not as food, as medicine. The relationship between humans and medicinal plants is older than language, older than tools, possibly older than our species itself. In 1960, a Neanderthal burial site was discovered in Shanidar Cave in Iraq. When researchers analyzed the soil around the skeleton, they found something extraordinary: concentrated pollen from at least 8 different plant species. Many of them plants with documented medicinal properties: yarrow, ephedra, groundsel. A Neanderthal had been buried with flowers, possibly with medicine. This is not a human. This is a different species, an earlier species, and it was already developing a relationship with medicinal plants. By the time Homo sapiens appeared, the knowledge of which plants heal and which plants kill had been accumulating for hundreds of thousands of years. And here is what makes this genuinely remarkable. This knowledge was not written down. There were no books, no medical schools, no pharmacies. It was carried entirely inside human memory, passed from person to person around fires that burned for thousands of generations. Every healer, every elder, every person who survived long enough to learn what worked and what didn't. They were the library, and what they knew was not primitive guesswork. Modern pharmacological analysis of plants used in traditional medicine around the world has found something that researchers did not expect. Many of them work, not in a vague feel-good way, in a measurable, biochemically specific way. Willow bark, used for pain and fever across multiple ancient cultures on different continents, contains salicin, which the human body converts to salicylic acid, the active ingredient in aspirin. Ancient humans did not know what salicin was. They did not know what inflammation was. They did not know they were performing chemistry. They knew the bark helped, and they remembered. Turmeric used across Asia for thousands of years for inflammation, and wound healing contains curcumin, a compound that modern research has identified as a potent anti-inflammatory agent. Artemisia plants used in Chinese medicine for over 2,000 years to treat fever. The active compound artemisinin is now the primary treatment for malaria worldwide. This is not coincidence. This is the result of hundreds of thousands of years of human beings paying extremely close attention to what happened when they consumed specific plants, and remembering, and teaching, and refining. The ancient human pharmacy was not a building. It was a conversation that never stopped. But plants were not the only tool in the ancient medical kit, because ancient humans also understood something about the human body that modern medicine spent most of the 20th century dismissing. The body heals itself, and what you do or don't do to it determines how well it can. Fasting, not as a diet trend, as a survival reality. When food was scarce, ancient humans did not eat, not because they chose to, but because they had no choice. And during those periods of not eating, something remarkable happened inside their bodies. A process called autophagy, self-eating, the body systematically breaking down damaged cells, misfolded proteins, and cellular debris, cleaning itself from the inside, recycling biological waste into building materials for new healthy cells. This process was discovered in modern research. The scientist who identified it won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2016. Ancient humans had no idea it was happening. They were just not eating because there was no food, and their bodies were healing themselves at a cellular level because of it. Sleep was another ancient medical tool that required no knowledge to use. When the sun went down and there was nothing to do in the dark, early humans slept deeply for long periods, in sync with light cycles that human biology had been calibrated to for millions of years. Modern sleep research consistently shows that the type of sleep that occurs in those conditions, deep, long, circadian aligned, is the single most powerful regenerative process the human body performs. It consolidates immune memory. It clears metabolic waste from the brain. It repairs damaged tissue. It regulates every hormonal system in the body. Ancient humans were not doing this because they understood sleep science. They were doing it because the darkness gave them no other option. And now for the piece that changes how you see all of this. Ancient humans were not alone when they were sick. This sounds obvious, but its implications run deeper than most people realize. Across every hunter-gatherer population ever studied, there is a consistent pattern. When a member of the group falls ill or is injured, the group reorganizes around them. People bring food. People stay close. People perform rituals that have no obvious biochemical mechanism, but that creates something the sick person desperately needs: the certainty that they are not alone. Modern psychoneuroimmunology, the study of how the mind, nervous system, and immune system interact, has demonstrated something that ancient healers appeared to know intuitively. Social connection is not just emotionally important, it is immunologically important. Loneliness produces measurable increases in inflammatory markers. Social connection produces measurable improvements in immune function. The presence of other people who care, physically present, touching, speaking, activates biological processes that assist in recovery in ways that are only beginning to be understood. Ancient humans survived without modern medicine, partly because they never faced disease alone. The healer who came with plants was also the person who sat with you through the night. The group that reorganized around the sick was also the group providing the social biology of recovery. This is not alternative medicine. This is not placebo. This is the immune system responding to social input, the way it evolved to respond over millions of years of humans who only survived in groups. And here is the final thing worth sitting with. The reason modern humans are sicker than ancient humans in so many chronic ways is not that we lack medicine. It is that we have systematically removed almost every condition that kept ancient humans healthy. We sit instead of move. We eat processed food instead of diverse whole plants. We sleep with artificial light, disrupting circadian rhythms that took millions of years to calibrate. We spend increasing amounts of time alone. We have disconnected from the biological rhythms, sun, season, fasting, movement, rest, that our bodies still expect. Ancient humans didn't know what inflammation was. They did not know what cortisol was. They did not know what the vagus nerve was. But they lived in conditions that kept all of those systems running the way evolution designed them to run. They did not survive without medicine. They lived in a way that made medicine rarely necessary. And somewhere inside your nervous system, beneath everything modern life has built on top of it, that same biology is still there, still waiting, still expecting the conditions it was built for. You carry the immune system of a survivor of tens of thousands of generations of people who faced infection, injury, and illness without a single pharmacy in the world and made it through anyway. If you want to know, you know what to do.